Welcome to the News Hour.
Good afternoon, family member, and welcome to the news. Be more responsible, stop killing the environment, stop pipeline vandalism, and indiscriminate disposal of all kinds of waste. I am Victor Peter with the news. In the highlights, President Tinubu urges other African countries to reject xenophobic attack in South Africa. President Tinubu's administration accused of concealing 12.8 trillion naira in 2026 budget on the service-wide vote. Reaction trails emergence of Mrs. Oyinkansola Badejo Okunshaya as NBA president. Plus, U.S. imposed sanctions on Sudan's government over using chemical weapons in war against rival. Details coming up shortly. Thank you for joining us on the news. We begin with the report that President Bola Tinubu has urged African leaders to jointly condemn the ongoing attacks on Nigerians and other African nationals in South Africa, warning that silence would only encourage intolerance across the continent. The president made the call through Vice President Kashim Shettima during the 69th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government held on Sunday in Freetown, Sierra Leone.
On Afrophobic attacks in South Africa, I wish to join Ghana in strongly condemning the Afrophobic attacks on its citizens and other fellow Africans in the Republic of South Africa. As already mentioned by His Excellency the President of Ghana, ECOWAS will present this matter before the next meeting of the Authority of African Union to send a clear message that this type of intolerance is unacceptable. South Africa should be reminded, while we tread the path of moderation, South Africa needs to be reminded that the freedom the country currently enjoys is due to the liberation efforts of African countries such as Nigeria and Ghana.
The development was disclosed in a statement posted on the official social media page of Vice President Shettima. The renewed condemnation follows recent attacks targeting Nigerians and other African nationals in South Africa, incidents that have repeatedly strained diplomatic relations between both countries and prompted previous evacuation exercise by the Nigerian government. Moving on, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has accused the Tinubu administration of concealing 12.8 trillion naira in the 2026 federal budget, describing the allocation under the service-wide vote SWV as a major threat to transparency and fiscal accountability. Atiku, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party PDP in the 2023 election, made the allegation in a statement issued on Monday by his senior special assistant on public communication, Frank Shaibu. He claimed that 84% of the 2026 budget is concentrated in 10 ministries, departments and agencies, with 12.8 trillion naira reportedly warehoused under the service-wide vote in the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. According to him, the allocation represents a sharp increase from the 638 billion naira provided for the service-wide vote in the 2025 budget. In politics, 16 governors of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC seeking a second term mandate will be given priority as the party commences the digital upload of all its governorship and state houses of assembly candidates on the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC candidates nomination portal ICNP. They include Governor Umoino in Akwa Ibom State, Hyacinth Alia of Benue State, Uba Sani of Kaduna, and Abba Yusuf of Kano, and others. The move is part of the party's race against time to meet statutory deadlines ahead of the 2027 general elections. An investigation by newsmen at the APC national headquarters in Abuja revealed that the party's Information and Communications Technology Department began processing the documents on Saturday. Still in the news, no fewer than 30 people are feared dead after a canoe capsized in Ringim local government area of Jigawa State. An eyewitness told journalists that the incident occurred at Malamawa Yanduse village on Sunday evening when the canoe carrying about 40 passengers, mostly women and children, capsized. The said rescue operations are still ongoing and families have been asked to identify the bodies of the victims for burial. Confirming the incident, the Director of Planning at the Jigawa State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Mohammed Bala Sanusi, said rescue operations were ongoing and the exact number of casualties and survivors had yet to be confirmed. In other news, troops of Operation Hardin Kai have arrested 2 foreign nationals, including a 32-year-old Sudanese man and a 36-year-old Ghanaian woman in Askira Uba local government area of Borno State. The army identified the Sudanese Musa Fasher as a suspected foreign terrorist fighter and collaborator, while the Ghanaian Mary Florence is said to be an illegal immigrant. In a statement on Monday, the acting military information officer Operation Hardin Kai Captain Mohammed Goni said the suspects were arrested by troops of the 115 Task Force Battalion at about 11:48 a.m. on July 19, 2026. He said the operation was carried out as part of ongoing intelligence-driven strategies in the fight against insurgency in the Northeast Theater. A constitutional and human rights lawyer, Barrister Ndamsi Ekolo, has described the emergence of Mrs. Oyikoshola Badejo Okunsanya, SAN, as the first female and 33rd president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, as a historic, inspiring and significant milestone for the legal profession in Nigeria. Barrister Ekolo made the commendation during a telephone interview with Family Love FM correspondent in Port Harcourt. He said Mrs. Badejo Okunsanya presidency comes at a time when the NBA is expected to play leading role in defending the rule of law and promotes judicial independence.
Her emergence as the first female and the 33rd president of the Nigerian Bar Association can be described as a historic, inspiring and significant milestone for the legal profession in Nigeria. So her presidency comes at a time when the Nigerian Bar is expected to play a leading role in defending the rule of law, promoting judicial independence, safeguarding human rights and advocating for reforms that will strengthen and come up with positive justice system.
Speaking further, Barrister Ekolo advised the new NBA president to uphold integrity of the profession and avoid introducing draconian and obnoxious policies like her predecessor.
Members of the family look up to her to address issues affecting legal practitioners in Nigeria and improve the welfare of lawyers and uphold integrity of the profession, and not to introduce draconian and obnoxious policies like her predecessor Alpha Musigwe did, by coming up with a policy that says if you don't do further professional trainings, you will not be given your practice license, which is completely in contrast with the Legal Practitioners Act that led to some of us went to court and defeated him in court. So we wish our new NBA president well, and we say congratulations to her.
As you may know, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mrs. Oyikoshola Badejo Okunsanya, has emerged as the 33rd president of the Nigerian Bar Association after defeating 2 other senior lawyers in the association's 2026 National Officers election. You're listening to Family Love FM News. The news continues in just a moment. Still to come, Ipman calls on NMDPRA to review imports licenses granted for petrol. Plus other stories, please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us, and now to the rest of the news. In business, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has warned that recent imports licenses granted for petrol are making fuel more expensive and harming the naira. The association called on the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to review the licenses and protect local refining. This comes as the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, MEMAN, said landing cost of petrol rose to 1,190.96 naira per litre as of July 16. Lehman, in its energy bulletin and ex-depot prices and regional pump prices report on Thursday, July 16, 2026, disclosed that the average 7-day landing cost of petrol was 1,155 naira. 1,155.45 naira per litre, and the 30-day average was 1,070 naira. 1,070.66 naira per litre, showing a sharp recent increase in landing costs. On the foreign scene, the U.S. State Department imposed a new round of sanctions on the Sudanese government on Monday, accusing it of using chemical weapons in its war against rival paramilitaries. Though Washington was not provided details on the chemical weapons used, international media have reported 2 chlorine gas barrels dropped in 2024. Since April 2023, the war between the Army and the Rapid Support Forces has drawn widespread reports of war crimes, with the U.S. also sanctioning paramilitary commanders for committing genocide in Darfur. The State Department last month announced a second round of sanctions on the Army-aligned government after last year's determination that the government of Sudan used chemical weapons in 2024 in violation of the Chemical Weapons Convention, which Khartoum ratified in 1999. Washington has not provided details on where or when the chemical attacks occurred. And in sports, Spain have become the first nation in football history to simultaneously hold the FIFA Men's World Cup and FIFA Women's World Cup titles. FIFA announced the milestone in a post on its official X handle on Sunday, following Spain's 1-0 victory over Argentina in the 2026 FIFA World Cup final in New York. Celebrating the achievement, FIFA wrote, "History makers Spain have become the first nation to hold both the at FIFA World Cup and at FIFA WWC simultaneously." Spain's triumph in the men's tournament came 3 years after the country's women's team lifted the FIFA Women's World Cup for the first time by defeating England 1-0 in the 2023 final in Sydney, Australia, thanks to Olga Carmona's decisive goal. The latest success also marked Spain's second Men's World Cup title, having previously won the tournament in South Africa in 2010. That's a package for you, family member, but before we go, here are the main points. We told you that President Bola Tinubu has urged African leaders to jointly condemn the ongoing attacks on Nigerians and other African nationals in South Africa. You also heard that a constitutional and human rights lawyer, Barrister Ndamzi Ekolo, has described the emergence of Oyekashola Bandijo Okunsanya, SAN, as the 33rd president of the Nigerian Bar Association as a historic milestone for the legal profession in Nigeria. We also brought you the reports that United States has imposed a new round of sanctions on the Sudanese government, accusing it of using chemical weapons in its war against rival paramilitaries. And that's the news on Family Love 97.7 FM Port Harcourt, as edited by Oluchi Uwafo. I am Victor Peter. Thank you for listening. Do enjoy the rest of today's broadcast. Good afternoon.